Hello student, let us continue chapter number 12. So today we are going to discuss our next topic, that is types of democracy. Various countries in the world have democracy. There still exists diversity within various democracies of different countries. Our country has a parliamentary democratic system. In a country like USA, there is a presidential parliamentary system. Now we shall see in detail about the two types of democracies, that is parliamentary democracy and presidential democracy. The first one, parliamentary democracy. In India we have parliamentary democracy. In a parliamentary democracy, the president appoints the leader of the party who gets the maximum number of seats in the Lok Sabha as the prime minister. The prime minister then forms the government with his cabinet of ministers. The parliamentary government is completely answerable about its working to the Lok Sabha. In parliamentary democracy, the government stay in power as long as it can obtain support of the majority of the members of the parliament. Now the next one is presidential democracy. Presidential democracy is the second important type of democracy. In such a type of democracy, the president is directly elected by the people. The president remains in power for a period mentioned in the constitution of that country. Presidential democracy exists in many countries including USA. Now, election system in democracy. Our country has maximum number of voters in the world. The Election Commission maintains the administration, control and monitoring of the entire process of election. It is essential for any democracy that its election commission is independent, impartial and autonomous. It is mandatory to maintain the autonomy of the election commission. In the constitution, there is a special provision for the terms and conditions of appointing the election commissioner, their criteria for service or their removal or suspension from their service, the responsibility and authority to hold elections for the parliament, state assembly, legislative council, president and the vice president rest with the election commission. The election of our country is carried out by secret ballot. Legislative assembly or the parliament is dissolved after every 5 years and then fresh elections are held. The election carried out to elect a new candidate to fill up vacant place due to death or resignation of the candidate is known as by-election. The dates of election, advertisement, filling and scrutinizing the nomination forms, the dates for withdrawing the nomination forms, the declaration of the final list of the eligible candidates, the allotment of election symbols, etc., falls under the work area of the election commission. From the time of announcement of the election dates, a protocol is implemented by the election commission. The government is bound to abide by the protocol and not carry out any activity or campaign that can affect the public opinion. The candidates and the political parties come up with their own election manifesto. The election manifesto reflects the proposed plans and works of the party in terms of economic, defense, foreign policy and various problems. Now, secret ballot in democracy. In our country, elections are conducted in a complete, independent and secret manner. Indian parliamentary elections are considered to be the largest election process in the world. Various political parties, organizations and independent candidates contest the elections. Each of them presents their work, ideas and future plan to the voters. It is expected that the voters vote without any benefit, greed, or fear. Secret ballot is given utmost importance in a democracy. A voter has a right to maintain the secrecy of his vote. No one can ask a voter regarding his vote. The amazing process of election maintains the secrecy of each voter's vote. The Election Commission facilitates the voting of all persons involved with the election process as well as the army personnel too. Two processes are used for voting. First one, voting by a ballot paper. Second, voting through an electronic voting machine, that is EVM. Counting ballot papers is more time consuming. Nowadays, most of the voting is carried out using EVMs. Counting votes in EVMs is less time consuming. It saves time and labor. Voting by using EVMs is environment friendly as it does not make use of the paper. If a voter decides to exercise his right to vote but not to cast his vote in favor of any of the contesting candidates, he can use the option of nota, that is, none of the above. Now, democracy and political parties. India is multi-party democracy and hence we have various political parties. Specific criteria are fixed by the election commission to validate any political party. Political parties are classified either into national party or regional party based on certain specific policies and criteria decided by the election commission. As per this, a party that secure more than 4% of the total votes in the previous general election in at least 4 major states is identified as a national party and the rest are identified as regional parties. As per the information given by the Election Commission by March 10th, 2014, a total of 1,593 national parties were registered. Last year, 239 parties were added. In our country, Indian National Congress INC and Bharatiya Janata Party BJP are the two major political parties. Along with this, Bahujan Samajwadi Party BSP, Communist Party of India Marxist, CPIM and National Congress Party NCP are the other national parties. Apart from this, the Shiv Sena, Trinamool Congress, Samajwadi Party, SP, Dravida Munitra Kalagram, DMK, All India Anna Dravida Munitra Kalagram, AIADMK, Aam Aadmi Party, AAP, Janata Dal United, JDU, Rashtriya Janata Dal, RJD are regional parties. Based on the specified criteria, any regional party can lose its status or any regional party can gain the status of the national party depending on the number of votes obtained by the party. The party forming the government is known as the ruling party. The party which forms the opposition is called the opposition party. The opposition party helps form public opinion by democratically opposing the objectionable plan and policies of the government. But in a healthy democracy, it is desirable that the opposition party supports the social and public causes of the ruling party, which are aimed at the welfare of the nation. The success of democracy depends on a balanced relationship between the ruling and the opposing party. Effective and strong opposition party is a prerequisite of a good democracy. Democracy is like a chariot. Ruling party and the opposing party are the two wheels of the chariot. Now, student, I hope you have understood the chapter. So, you have to complete your textual exercise in your CW as well as your workbook. Thank you.